Welcome back to Setting Up Your Learning Space. Let's finish setting up this room.
Rise and thrive, catch that education vibe.
Okay, Wall 2. Wall 2 is dedicated to reading. And I've seen these done in many different ways in all my years in the classroom. But there's two ways to think of reading. You're either learning to read or you're reading to learn. Kids in pre-K through grade 2 are usually learning to read. Think learning, phonics. You might use a whole language approach, syllables. While kids in third grade or above are reading to learn. So this is when they really start to dive into those topics like main idea, context clues, cause and effect, compare and contrast. Now, all grades in the elementary level have both ways addressed every year, but there tends to be more of an emphasis in this way, depending if you're lower elementary or upper elementary. So, despite the grade, the wall should include guiding tools for both ways, but one way may dominate the space over the other. So, let's start with the learning to read space. It doesn't matter the grade, I always include a visual on how to count syllables. This topic will be fleshed out in a later post, but learning to identify and count syllables is the core to reading skills, as breaking words apart can work no matter how large the word gets. The post will remind students that the number of vowels is usually the number of symbols, or should I say the number of vowel sounds. Another hint might be to split it to double consonants. I always start the year, again, no matter the grade, reviewing how to count syllables. How you choose to break down the rest of the Learn to Read section really depends on how you approach the topic. Some teachers focus heavily on phonics. Their wall might include phonics by letters, which would include differentiation between hard and soft consonants, long and short vowels. Some might take a whole language approach, and their wall would include word families, but both will most likely include digraphs, diphthongs, and blends. This will most likely be the majority of the reading wall for K to 2, while 3 to 5 may focus more on patterns that affect a word, such as silent E, changing word tense, adding a Y at the end, along with those digraphs, diphthongs, blends. I usually also include a space to add new words as we learn, such as vocabulary or spelling words. Next, let's address the reading to learn space. As covered in depth in my Reading to Learn video, this will be dedicated to different ways we dissect what we read for understanding. So you could check out that video to see how I approach the subject in depth. But in summary, my posters are broken into 3 categories. Right there, ready, set, think, which is also get a clue, and I know what that means. So the right there questions are the type of questions that they can actually match and find in the text. The ready, set, think questions, we're looking for clues in the text to help us make our best decisions. And I know what that means usually includes certain words that the student has to know in order to be successful. Each poster includes several topics of readings, how we label the questions, and how we best determine the answers. So definitely check out that video if you want to see how I approach that topic. Okay, on to that math wall. The math wall is split into 3 sections: grade level methods, diagramming word problems, and geometry and measurement. Again, there will be a different emphasis put on the grade level methods depending on whether it's kindergarten to second grade or third to fifth grade. Pre-K to second grade is usually learning about numbers. There's a strong emphasis on building fluency. I know many teachers think that fluency has been pulled from the new standard curriculum. This is because in our day, fluency was addressed using the drill and kill method. Think Mad Minute and endless flashcards. The same methods progressed to games where students had to pick the right answers over and over again. But today's curriculums don't really give those resources. I go over how today's curriculums still have a strong emphasis on fluency in my video, Understand Math, Merging Old School and New School Techniques. To keep it simple, pre-K to second grade level methods will want a hundreds chart, a 10 frame, a number line to 20, and the base 10 blocks with explanation. A place value chart for ones and tens if you're in pre-K to first grade, and then that chart should go up to hundreds if you are in the second grade. All these visuals should be large enough for students to see from their desk. The grade level methods for third through fifth grade, you're going to want to have a multiplications chart, a blank number line for reference, base 10 blocks with an explanation through thousands and through hundredths, as in decimals for fourth grade, and thousandths for those fifth graders. You're also going to leave space on your math wall to add alternative methods as they're taught, such as how to diagram partial products. All grades should include a poster on how to diagram word problems. I covered this in the video, Diagramming Word Problems. This is based heavily on the methods used in Singapore, and it allows students to learn how to build the same diagram over and over from pre-K through high school in order to make a visual for those word problems that can be very tricky to understand. So instead of focusing just on keywords to try and find the right symbols, we show them how to build a picture for understanding. The geometry and measurement section should be updated as topics are addressed. I personally used to have my geometry and measurement in a center format, so my students were usually always working on one of those, even as we were addressing other grade level appropriate topics. So when that topic was presented in the center, I usually immediately added that to my geometry or measurement section so that students have a reference as they're learning these skills on their own. Okay, wall 4, that last wall is for student work. And amazingly enough, I think that this is one of the most important walls in the classroom and one that I really did neglect a lot when I first started teaching. I used to think that it was my job to pick and choose what student work was displayed on the wall. But I realized no, the students take so much more pride in their work when they know that they can display things that they've worked hard on. So I like to have all those student numbers listed on the wall and a little clear plastic sheet or the paper protectors so the students can slip in the work that they want displayed. Sometimes I know if I'm going to grade something, I will tell them to slip it into the pocket on the wall. That way it's a very easy visual, like, hey, number 9, you're missing your work. Remember to put it in your pocket. Another thing that I did was have little disposable cameras, or Polaroid cameras, I should say. They were so cheap now. And what I would do is when students finished their center, I would have them take a picture of the work with their little name and number label next to it. It's the way I kept them accountable for the work in their centers. Even if you don't want to invest in those disposable cameras, you can always just have like an old iPhone or an old phone there and let them take the picture. They used to like to take the picture with their friends and show that their work is done. I would then take the pictures and we would clip them on the clips underneath their number. And again, that was a great way to have accountability because I can quickly look over and say, hey, I'm not seeing pictures from these people. Where's your center work? Make sure you get that picture in. Administration loves it. They can see all the work that your students have done. And the parents also love getting those pictures home. It definitely helps build independence and accountability. So in summary, in a 4-wall classroom, 1 wall is for your classroom procedures, 1 wall is for reading, 1 wall is for math, and 1 wall is for student work. I hope this video gave you some ideas on how to set up your classroom. I would love to see these ideas. Feel free to email them to me, the link is in the bio, and include the subject, setting up my learning space. You may just see your classroom on an upcoming video or social media posts. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's time to rise and thrive. Catch that education vibe. Let's go.
vibe, makes you vibe.